Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel Tutor Things. In the previous video related to AZ-900 practice type questions, part 1 we have done where we have covered 40 questions. In this video we are going to cover some more questions from 41. Here is the questions. This is type of the question which having underlined text. If the underlined text is correct, then you can go for no change option, or otherwise the correct answer you have to choose there. Now the question is, you plan to deploy 20 virtual machines to the Azure environment. To ensure that a virtual machine named VM cannot connect to the other virtual machines, VM1 must be deployed to a separate virtual network instructions. So virtual network, here the instruction is underlined part. It will make correct, then go for no change, or otherwise select the correct answer. Here the underlined part is given the question, but here it will not be visible right now. So the entire statement is looking like correct, so the no change is required. You can go for the option no change is required, option A. So for this explanation, if you want to know the exact meaning of explanation, here you can pause this video and you can read this explanation so that you will get clarity like how that statement will be true, like that. So here is the next question, 42. This is type of sentence type question. If the sentence is correct, what is the followed correct answer? For that you have to select from the options given in the answer area. So the question is, when you need to delegate permissions to several Azure virtual machines simultaneously, you must deploy the Azure virtual machine in which they are giving some options to the same Azure region by using Azure Resource Manager template, or to the same resource group, or to the same availability zone. The correct answer to here is to the same resource group. We have to go for it. So next question we have, because this is a logical container where we can group other things like similar things. Here you have, and the question is, a team of developer at our company plans to deploy and then remove 50 customized virtual machines each week. 30 of the virtual machines run on Windows Server 2016 and 20 of the virtual machines run on Ubuntu Linux. So what you recommend for this type of scenario, like you will give some solution for that. Is that solution is recommended or not, or what type of things should be given for this? You have to select the option. You need to recommend which Azure service will minimize the administration effort required to deploy and remove virtual machine, which will minimize the administration effort. You have to select the options from this. So they have given by using reserved virtual machine instances, this can be done, or by using virtual machines at scale sets you can do, or Azure Dev Test Labs you can do, or Microsoft Manager Desktop. In this, which is gives a minimized administration effort, we have to select, that is Azure Dev Test Labs. By testing we are just creating and then removing, then it is better to go with the Dev Test Labs for this purpose. So next question is related to the underlined statement. If the statement is correct, then you have to go for no change is required, or otherwise the correct answer you have to give. They are giving like one of the benefits of Azure SQL data warehouse is that high availability is built into the platform. Yes, of course, the warehouse SQL database is used for high availability, as it is offering PaaS offering from Microsoft, and PaaS services like Microsoft SQL database offers availability scale that is 99.9%. Then it should be built for the high platform. Then there is no problem for that, because it can be built at high availability features. So it is the correct answer. No change is required. And next question, a support engineer plans to perform several Azure management tasks by using Azure CLI. You can install CLI on a computer. You need to tell the support engineer which tool do you run the CLI to use to run the CLI. Which tools are used to run the CLI, you have to recommend, so that your correct answer represents the complete solution, like that. You have to select the options in here. This is a multiple answer type of question, so that you can select two or more options. Here option is a command prompt you can use, or also you can go for Windows PowerShell. You can use these two things to run the CLI commands or anything. Command prompt and Azure PowerShell we can use. So that is, Azure CLI is installed via MSI, and it will give access to CLI through Windows prompt or PowerShell. So here is the next question. You need to manage Azure by using Azure Cloud Shell. Which Azure portal icon do you select? You are given a one portal diagrammatical representation. Here image or screenshot they have given. You have to select which one is to do the job that you need to manage Azure resource by using Azure Cloud Shell, then you have to go for this particular option. You can access Azure Cloud Shell in the Azure portal by clicking the icon. Here we have this icon, right? So by clicking on this icon, you can go for Azure PowerShell. Is an interactive authenticated PowerShell by managing Azure resources. It is used as interactive platform like that. You can select this option. You will give multiple options, then you have to select for particular option, which image shows that. Like next question, you can plan to store 20 terabytes of data in Azure. The data will be accessed infrequently and visualized by using Power BI. You need to recommend a storage solution for the data. Like 2 solutions must be recommended. They are telling like, so that they complete the statement, the solution. Here is the option which you are going to suggest, means Azure Data Lake or a Cosmos DB or a SQL Data Warehouse or SQL database or database for PostgreSQL. Which is better for you? You can, for representing large amount of data, 20 terabyte, you can directly go for Azure Data Lake, or also you can go for Azure SQL Data Warehouse for this purpose. So these are the 2 correct options. And you have next question. You have an Azure environment that contains 10 web apps. To which URL you want to connect to manage all the resources. Select the appropriate options in the answer area. You have an answer, so in the answer area you have to select which one will be better. It's like Azure or Azure Writers or Microsoft. For particular field you have to go for this. Portal means Azure. Azure Portal is a web-based management interaction where you can view and manage all the resources and a unified hub, and including web apps and databases and virtual machines and virtual networks and storage and visual studio team projects like that. So the URL for this is www.com portal.azure.com. So there is no admin dot or this portal is on the domain name is here portal.azure.com. So you have to keep it in the mind about that URL. So next question, you need to identify the type of failures of which availability zone can be used to protect the access to the Azure services. So you must identify that thing, that is an Azure data center failure, where you can identify the failures of this availability zones of an Azure. Next, if you are planning to extend your company's Azure network to Azure, the network contains VPN appliances that uses an IP address of some much. So this is the IP address they are given. You need to create an Azure resources that define the VPN appliances in Azure. So how can you create this type of things they are giving in option area? You have to select the appropriate answer. So networking they have given. So here is the answer. Local network gateways, you can go for this particular type of service where it should provide you like it's an object in Azure that represents your on-premise VPN device. A VPN is a VPN object, like gateway is a VPN object at the Azure end of the VPN. So by this you can perform this particular operation, like you can have a security appliances. So next question, you have a virtual machine named VM1 that runs on a Windows Server 2016 and VM1 in the East US Azure region. So now which Azure service should you use for this Azure portal to view service failure notifications that will affect the availability zone of V1? To monitor the particular thing like failure related to the VM1, how can you done with which region of the source? Means you can go for Azure virtual machine. By this you can have that in the Azure virtual machine pages in Azure portal. It is named as maintenance status, where we will have this failure host related to those VMs or anything. You can go and check there. So like that you can do. So this is the quarter question of series of questions which is the same scenario. So you will get series of questions in the same scenario. So you have to select appropriate, is that answer is correct or not, is the statement is true or false, like that. So here is the question for that. An Azure administration plans to run a PowerShell script that creates Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. So they are given a solution. If the solution meets the requirement goal, then you can go for yes, or otherwise you can go for no. The solution is no or yes. You have to choose that. Run the script from a computer that runs Linux and has the Azure CLI tools installed. To run this particular type of operation, they are giving the solution like you can use computer that runs on Linux and you can have an Azure CLI tools installed. If the answer is correct, you can go for yes, or otherwise no. So no, this much is not needed to do this PowerShells or anything. You have to have Windows, so not Azure CLI. And PowerShell needs to be run in a PowerShell. PowerShell is now to be installed on Linux. However, the question states that the computer has a CLI tools, not PowerShell installed. So therefore, the solution doesn't meet the requirement goal because they are having Azure CLI tools but not the PowerShell. So you should have the PowerShell tools too. So next, a series of questions they have given a same thing, same statement, and Azure administration run on the PowerShell script to create an Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. They are giving the solution this time is run the script from a computer that runs Chrome's OS and uses Azure Cloud Shell. This time they are using Azure Cloud Shell, not those things. So this meet the requirements which you are looking for. A PowerShell needs to be run in a PowerShell, right? So in a Cloud Shell, you can run PowerShell commands and scripts in the web browser. So you can log in into Azure portal and select the Azure Cloud Shell option. Then you can do such kind of operations from the portal, right? So the answer is correct. You can go for yes. Next, same question they are asking for administration runs to PowerShell script, and then let's see the solution meets our requirement or not. That run the script from a computer that runs on Mac OS and PowerShell core 6.0 is installed. So by this also we can run like Mac OS is there. They are telling that PowerShell 6.0 is installed, then the solution we are met because to run the script of PowerShell core 6.0 is enough for that. So next correct answer is. So next 55th question, you have an Azure environment that contains 10 virtual machines and 100 virtual machines. So virtual networks and 10 virtual networks and 100 virtual machine. You need to limit the amount of inbound traffic to the Azure virtual networks. What should you create for type of these things? What you have to create to inbound to limit the traffic? You should be having a firewall, right? So one Azure firewall is enough for this to do restrict the traffic to the multiple virtual networks to a single Azure firewall. So the answer is D, one Azure firewall. And next we have you need to view a list of plan and maintenance events that can be affected in the availability of an Azure subscription. Which badge should you choose from the Azure portal? So they have given some Azure badges, so which you are do for such kind of operation they are asking for. So you must choose the service which you are having, that is a helpless support. You can go for this helpless support brush. If there is a related to the service health option, then you can go for service health badge. There a new badge will open. There you have this client maintenance related things. There we can check by using this particular Azure subscription. Next, drag and drop type of questions you will have, and matching type of questions like which is correct definition of what, like that you have to choose. So I've given some things that now I will read out those definitions. An integrated solution for deployment of code is Azure DevOps. From this particular options you can drag and drop in these empty boxes. An integrated solution for the deployment of code is Azure DevOps. A tool that provides guidance and recommendations to improve an Azure environment is Azure Advisor that will advise you and guide you. Azure Advisor, a simplified tool to build intelligent artificial intelligence AI applications. AI applications mostly related to the cognitive services. Azure Cognitive Service is responsible for building any intelligent type of services. Next, monitors web applications. For monitoring web applications and its performance, you will have to go for application insights. You have this service provided by Azure by using Azure Application Insights. You can go with that. So this is the drag and drop type of questions. For explanation, you can pause this video and you can read out this box 1, box 4 descriptions to know it in a clear manner or deeply in depth. Next, you have this 58 question. You have an Azure environment which contains multiple Azure virtual machines. Now you can plan to implement a solution that implements the client computers on your on-premises network to communicate to the Azure virtual machines. So you need to recommend which Azure resources would be created for this planned solution. 2 resources you can include in this recommendation. They have given options like a virtual network gateway. So a gateway is much needed for this on-premises network or to burn this traffic or anything. So next, a load balancer, no need if you are using gateway. And next we have application gateway, no need. And a virtual network gateway we are using, so virtual network no need. And next we have this gateway subnet. Gateway subnet and a virtual network gateway is 2 things which are needed to implement this planned solution. Next type of question is a drag and drop type of questions. This statement, which type of service it is indicating, you have to select that. A managed relational cloud service. Relational cloud service is Azure SQL database. We have this service. A cloud-based service that leverages massively parallel processing MPP to quickly run complex queries across petabytes of data in a relational database. So this much of large amount of data, we should go for the data warehouse, SQL data warehouse. We have Azure SQL data warehouse service for this purpose. Can run massively parallel data transformations and processing programs across petabytes of data. Next, we also for this large amount of data, we go for Azure SQL data warehouse only. So not to analytics, like we are not checking any processing. So for processing, we can go for data and analytics, like data lake analytics. Your option is maybe wrong, I think. Azure data analytics for this. And next, an open source framework for distributed processing and analyzing of big data sets in clusters, that is HD Insights. Azure HD High Definition Insights is used for this purpose. Here comes the next question. You need to identify which badges in this Azure portal must be used to perform the following tasks. To view security recommendations, to monitor health of Azure resources, to browse available virtual machine images. Which badge do you identify for this task? Each task, so they are giving some badges line wise. So which is used for which, we have to select. For monitoring Azure services, browsing virtual machines, and view security recommendations. Here the option is to monitor. Monitor is used for browsing these things. Marketplace is used. Marketplace is where we have different types of services where you can choose like you can shop there, like it's a marketplace, we call it as. So view security recommendations, we should go for advisor. Azure advisor is the one which reminds you about security recommendations, like those things. And next we have the 61st question, that is a part of series of questions as we've seen previously. Like you will have a one statement and you will have a solution for that. So problem and solution, if the solution is meeting the requirement, then you go for yes, or otherwise no. Here is the question is, you have an Azure environment, you need to create an Azure virtual machines from a tablet that runs the Android operating system. The tablet that is running Android operating system, where you have to create a Azure virtual machine. So is that possible or not? So what you can use for this purpose? The solution is you can use badge in Azure Cloud Shell. They are telling that you can use badge in Azure Cloud Shell to create these Azure virtual machines that from a tablet, like that. So yes, that you can do by using the badge in the Azure Cloud Shell. You can create Azure virtual machines from this interface, like that. And next we have this question related to planning and creating an Azure virtual machine. You need to identify which storage service should be used to store and manage a data disk of your virtual machine. Here you can identify, we have this blob, files, tables and queries. If you have a knowledge about storage accounts, what are the type of storage accounts, which service is managed by which type of storage account, you can have a knowledge, then you can answer these type of things. For the REST-based storage process for unstructured data, we go for blobs. So blobs is a storage which is the backbone of a virtual disk platform of Azure infrastructure service. Both Azure OS and data disk are implemented as a virtual disk, so the data is durably persistent in Azure storage platforms and then deliverable to the virtual machine for maximum performance. So we can go for this blobs storage. And next question is, your company is planning to move several servers to an Azure. The company's compliances policy states that a server named Fin server must be a separate network segment. You are evaluating which Azure services can be used to meet the compliance policy requirements. So which is you are going to recommend for this is a option B, a virtual network for Fin servers and other virtual network for all other servers, because this is the and a separate network. They are telling a separate segment. Then you can go for one virtual network. For other virtual networks, you can choose another servers. So that is the option for this purpose. So you can plan to map a network drive from several computers to run on Windows 10 to Azure storage. You need to create a storage solution in Azure for planned map a drive. What should you create? For this purpose, what should you have to create? Means you have a file service in a storage account. So that will help us to do such kind of things. A file service in a storage account is the answer for this purpose. And next, you plan to implement an Azure database solution. You need to implement a database solution that meets the following requirements. They are giving some requirements, that is, can add data concurrently from multiple regions, can store JSON documents. So which type of database service should you deploy for this purpose? They are asking and giving some services. From this you have to select the things which are going to be done they're asking for. So Azure Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multimodal database service. With one click on the button, Azure DB will be enabled elastically and independently scale throughout the storage across many number of Azure regions worldwide. So you can go with that. It is also having a great way to store unstructured data and also JSON data. So Azure Functions is combined with Cosmos DB to making a storing and retrieving the data in a quick manner, so that we can go for Cosmos DB for this purpose. So next question is, your company's plan to migrate all its network resources to Azure. So you need to start planning the process by exploring Azure. So what should you create first? To create whatever you are going to do in the Azure, you must have an Azure subscription. So first thing you have to create is a Azure subscription to work on this Azure. You will be get a billed according to your subscription types and those things. And next you have an on-premises application that sends email notifications automatically based on a rule. You have set a rule, based upon a rule you will get automatic email notifications. Then you are planning to migrate the application to Azure. You need to recommend a serverless computing solution for this application. What you are going to suggest or recommend. So for this, for either making a rule or these things, you can have a Logic app. So Logic app is in a cloud service that helps us to schedule, automate, and orchestrate task, business process, and workflow, so that you can need to integrate apps, data systems, and service across the enterprises or organizations. So Logical apps helps this for this purpose. You can pause this video and you will get to know the exact explanation for that question. And you are also planning, next question, you are planning to deploy a website to Azure. This website will be accessed by the users worldwide and will be hosted in a large video files. So basically video files, so we go for a content delivery that network, that is CDN, for a large amount of video plays. So for video type of things we select for CDN. So that is content delivery network. This is the option. Next, your company plans to deploy several million sensors that upload data to Azure. You need to identify which Azure resources would be created to support this planned solution. So coming to several million sensors, like the data to upload data related to not a single thing. So entire data, then you have to have a data lake for that. And next, they are having sensors coming to IoT related things, so that it is better to have it. It's Azure IoT have to get these things into a picture. So the correct options are Azure Data Lake for data management, and for IoT is for sensors and those things. So Azure IoT Hub. So Azure IoT provides data from millions of sensors, so it can be used for this purpose. So next question 70, you have an Azure web app. You need to manage the settings of an web app from an iPhone. What are the two Azure management tools you use? So you are going to manage from an iPhone, then it should be have Azure portal first, whatever maybe the system is. Azure portal is must and need. And in the Azure portal you will have a CLI, that is Azure Cloud Shell, should be needed to to run these operations or anything. Azure Cloud Shell and Azure portal, two important things. So web-based portal for managing Azure, and web being web-based, you should use the Azure portal on iPhone. So Azure Cloud Shell is a web-based command line for managing Azure resources and everything. So next question is 71th question. This question is request to evaluate underlined text they have given. If there is no change needed, you can go for the option 1. No change is required, or otherwise you have to give select the appropriate answer. They are telling the questions like, you have an application that is compromising of Azure web app that has a service level agreement of 19.95% and a Azure SQL database that has a CLA of 19.9%. Yes, Azure web app has 19.5% and this is having 19%. There is no wrong in that statement. It is giving correct only, so no change is required for the statement. And next we have this correction like yes or true or false type of statements. So if the statement is true, then you go for yes, otherwise no. They are giving questions like, all Azure resources deployed a single resource must be shared the same Azure region. No, you can have the different type of Azure regions for a different type of services which are placed in a one single Azure resource group. So no for this statement. If you can assign a tag to a resource group, all the Azure resources group to that resource group are assigned to the same tag. No tags also we can give as different for different types of resources under a single resource group. No statement, so not true statement, so no. If you set a premises to a resource group, all the Azure resources in that resource group inherit the permissions. Yes, of course. If you set a lock or if you set anything read-only mode like that, so premises will be go on inherit for the each and every element in that resource group. So the statement is true. Next, coming to the 73rd question, your company plans to apply an artificial intelligence solution in Azure, so which is used to build, test, and deploy predictive analytics solutions. That is Azure Machine Learning Studio. So Machine Learning Studio is used to build, test, and deploy this kind of things. It's a collaborative drag and drop tool so that you can use for any predictive analysis on your data. So like that. So next question is they have given a statement. If the statement is true, no change is required. Otherwise, you have to give a correct statement. They are giving like data is stored in the HU files tier of an Azure storage account can be accessed at any time using AZ copy.exe. No, no, you can't use the access storage tier storage data at any time. It should be have some time to be in the hot and cool tires. You have three different types of tires like hot, cool, and HU. To use the HU tire, HU tire has the lowest storage cost. However, we don't recommend to use the data which is frequently accessed. So it must be first hydrated before the data can be accessed. You should comes to cool data, then only you can access it. You can't access it in a within a time at any time. So the option is statement is wrong. It must be hydrated before the data can be accessed. You can't use that access data at any time. So next statement is true or false type of statements. You should read the statement. If the statement is true, then you go for yes, otherwise no. So Azure Advisor provided recommendations on how to improve security of an Azure Active Directory environment. No, Azure Advisor doesn't recommend about security concepts or related to Azure Directory environment. It just gives resources things. Next, Azure Advisor provide recommendation how to reduce the cost of running Azure virtual machines. As they will recommend like if you are using this much cost, you will be great like that. It will recommend you. So the statement Azure Advisor provide the recommendations on how to configure network settings on Azure. So it will not tell you how to set. You will set according to your requirements. It will just suggest you, recommend you about the cost of the things and security concerns. So next question is a series of questions. It will give you some data if that and also give a solution for that. If that meet that solution, then you have to go for yes or else no. You have an Azure subscription, name it subscription when you sign in with the Azure portal and create an Azure resource group of RG1. From an Azure documentation, you have the following command that creates an virtual machine named V1. AZ create Azure resource group RG1 name V1 image Ubuntu LTS and generate SSH key. You need to create VM in a subscription one by using the command. By this command you can create or not. They are giving this solution. So solution is what is that means from the Azure portal launch Azure Cloud Shell and select PowerShell, run the command Cloud Shell. Yes, by doing this you can create like in the Azure portal you will have a Azure Cloud Shell. In that you have two options, one is bash and second one is PowerShell. If you go for PowerShell and you can run this command, so the command there is given for related to PowerShell, so then that a particular virtual machine will be created. So the statement is correct. You can go for answer A. Yes. Next they have given the same question. They are giving the solution like from a computer that runs on Windows 10 install Azure CLI, from PowerShell sign in into Azure and then run the command. They are telling us to install Azure CLI and again they are telling like from the PowerShell you can run the command. Yes, in the Azure portal in the PowerShell, from PowerShell also you can run the command if you are having an Azure CLI in your Windows 10. Is the answer is correct? PowerShell or the command prompt if you have a CLI installed. So you can do in the both similar ways. And next we are giving another solution like from the computer that runs on Windows 7 install Azure CLI. From the command prompt sign into Azure and then command and then run the command. They are telling like this. Yes, of course like this also you can do. If you have an Azure CLI, from the command prompt you can sign into Azure and then you can run the command. So like this also you can do from the command prompt also, if you're signing into Azure, you can run this command so that your virtual machine will be created. So the statement is true. Next, they are giving question related to several support engineers plan to manage Azure SSS by using the computers shown in the following diagram. They have three computers: computer 1, computer 2, computer 3, Windows 10, Ubuntu and Mac OS module, and they are telling like identify which Azure management tool use it to from each computer. So that should be identify the correct answer from this option. They are given computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. From this computer currently you have Azure CLI, the Azure portal and the Azure PowerShell. From the computer 2 you will have the same. Computer 3 also you will have the same. So these three must be needed for any managing any resource Azure subscriptions. Next, they are giving sentences like a complete platform for deploying objects to cloud infrastructure and for implementing consistency across the Azure environment. So to have this, you should use the Azure Resource Management Complex provides this type of common platform for deploying objects to cloud infrastructure and for implementing consistency across cloud objects. We can use Azure ARM templates, we say, as Azure Resource Management templates is used for this purpose. So that now we have covered 80 bits. In the previous video we have done 40. In this video we have done 40. So in upcoming videos we are going to have other bits related to this part. So we'll have part 3 for this too. So until then, stay tuned to our channel, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you will get notified each time when we upload a new video related to this Azure exams or dumps like that, or any practice questions we are going to upload in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned and never miss any update from us by clicking the bell icon. Like this video and share this video to your friends who are having this exam soon in this week. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.